U.S. President Donald Trump has issued a stark warning to Hamas regarding the ongoing hostage situation in Gaza. In a move that has captured global attention, Trump has made it clear that the situation must be resolved swiftly and decisively. He insists that all hostages must be returned to Israel by Saturday at noon. This deadline is non-negotiable, and Trump has emphasized the urgency of the matter. If this deadline is not met, Trump warns that all hell will break out. His words have sent shockwaves through the international community, raising concerns about the potential for further conflict. This ultimatum comes amidst heightened tensions following Hamas's recent postponement of the scheduled hostage release. The delay has only added to the already volatile situation. Trump's threat has been met with mixed reactions. While some believe it is a necessary measure to ensure the hostages' safety, others fear it could lead to unintended consequences. Some see it as a necessary pressure tactic to ensure the safe return of the hostages. They argue that strong action is needed to deal with such a critical situation. Others view it as reckless rhetoric that could further escalate the conflict. They worry that such a hardline stance might provoke a violent response from Hamas. Hey, what's up guys? Sorry to interrupt this amazing program, but I need a little help if you're watching this on YouTube. You can probably see our subscriber number right below the video, and if you're able to, it would mean the world if you could subscribe to our new and growing channel. When you subscribe, it helps our videos get exposed to more audiences like yourself. Our mission is simple: to bring you cool contents that inspires, informs, and adds real value to your life. In return, my team and I promise to keep pushing harder than ever to make this show better for you every single week. Thank you for being part of this journey. We couldn't do it without you. Now let's get back to our video. The ambiguity surrounding what all hell will break out entails only adds to the uncertainty. People are left wondering what specific actions Trump might take if his demands are not met. This is not the first time Trump has employed such strong language when it comes to international affairs. His approach has often been characterized by bold statements and a willingness to take risks. His critics argue that his confrontational style is counterproductive and risks inflaming already volatile situations. They believe that diplomacy and negotiation are more effective tools in such delicate matters. However, his supporters maintain that his tough stance is necessary to protect American interests. They argue that showing strength is the best way to deter adversaries and ensure national security. As the deadline looms, the world watches anxiously, hoping for the safe return of the hostages and a peaceful resolution to this latest chapter in the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. The international community is on edge, waiting to see how events will unfold. The stakes are high, and the consequences of failure could be dire. The world holds its breath, hoping for a resolution that avoids further bloodshed and brings peace to the troubled region. One of the most contentious aspects of Trump's proposed plan for Gaza is his stance on the right of return for Palestinian refugees. He has categorically stated that Palestinians will not have the right to return to Gaza under his plan. Instead, he proposes that they will be resettled in much better housing elsewhere. This declaration has sparked outrage among Palestinians and drawn sharp criticism from the international community. The right of return is a fundamental principle for Palestinians enshrined in UN Resolution 194. It represents their claim to their ancestral homeland and their right to self-determination. Critics argue that Trump's proposal ignores international law and Palestinian rights. They view it as an attempt to erase Palestinian identity and legitimize Israeli control over Palestinian territories. The international community has largely rejected Trump's plan, emphasizing the importance of a negotiated two-state solution based on pre-1967 borders. The issue of the right of return remains a major stumbling block in the Israeli-Palestinian peace process. Trump's stance on this issue has further complicated an already intractable conflict, making a just and lasting peace even more elusive. Trump's vision for Gaza extends beyond the controversial no right of return policy. He has outlined a plan where the United States would essentially take ownership of Gaza and oversee its reconstruction. He envisions transforming the war-torn territory into a thriving hub, likening it to a real estate development project. This proposal has been met with disbelief and condemnation from many quarters. Critics argue that it smacks of colonialism and is a blatant attempt to assert American dominance in the region. They point out that the United States has no right to claim ownership of another nation's territory, regardless of its intentions. Furthermore, there are serious doubts about the feasibility of transforming Gaza into a real estate haven. The territory faces immense challenges, including poverty, unemployment, and a lack of basic infrastructure. Critics question whether a real estate-focused approach addresses the root causes of the conflict or the needs of the Palestinian people. Trump's plan has been widely rejected by the international community, further isolating the United States on the world stage. The proposal has also drawn criticism from within the United States, with many questioning the wisdom and legality of such an undertaking. In a move that has further strained relations with key regional players, Trump has suggested using U.S. aid as leverage to pressure Jordan and Egypt into accepting Palestinian refugees. This controversial strategy has sparked a significant amount of debate and criticism from various quarters. He has indicated his willingness to withhold aid from these countries if they do not comply with his demands. This has put both Jordan and Egypt in a precarious position, as they rely heavily on U.S. aid for various sectors including healthcare, education, and infrastructure. This tactic has been met with anger and resentment in both Jordan and Egypt. Citizens have taken to the streets in protest, expressing their frustration and opposition to what they see as undue pressure from the U.S. Both countries have long borne the brunt of the Palestinian refugee crisis, hosting large Palestinian populations for decades. The influx of refugees has strained their resources and infrastructure, making the U.S. demands even more burdensome. They argue that they have already made significant sacrifices and should not be held hostage to U.S. foreign policy objectives. The leaders of both nations have publicly condemned the U.S. approach, calling for a more balanced and fair solution to the refugee crisis. Moreover, critics argue that using aid as a bargaining chip is not only morally reprehensible, but also counterproductive. They believe that such tactics undermine the very purpose of humanitarian aid, which is to provide relief and support to those in need. They point out that cutting aid to Jordan and Egypt could destabilize these countries, potentially leading to further unrest and extremism in the region. The potential for increased instability poses a significant risk, not only to the Middle East, but to global security as well. Trump's approach has further alienated key U.S. allies in the Middle East, making it even more difficult to find a peaceful resolution to the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. Diplomatic relations have been strained, and trust between the U.S. and its allies has been eroded. His willingness to use aid as a political weapon has raised serious concerns about the future of U.S. foreign policy in the region. The long-term implications of this strategy remain uncertain, but the immediate impact has been a significant increase in tension and uncertainty. Adding to the confusion surrounding Trump's plan is the conflicting messaging coming from his own administration. This has led to a lot of speculation and uncertainty among both the public and international observers. While Trump himself has spoken about the permanent relocation of Palestinians outside of Gaza, his statements have often been vague and open to interpretation. Some of his aides have attempted to soften his stance, suggesting alternative approaches. These aides have suggested that the relocation would be temporary, providing a more palatable option for those concerned about permanent displacement. They argue that this would only last for the duration of Gaza's reconstruction, which they claim is a necessary step for long-term peace and stability. They argue that this would allow Palestinians to live in better conditions while their homeland is rebuilt, providing them with essential services and support. However, Trump has repeatedly contradicted these claims, often doubling down on his original statements, reiterating his belief that Palestinians will not return to Gaza under his plan, which has caused further confusion and concern. Secretary of State Marco Rubio has also offered a slightly different interpretation, adding another layer to the mixed messages, suggesting that Palestinians could be resettled in interim locations, which he believes could be a viable short-term solution, before eventually moving to a future Palestinian state. This idea, however, remains speculative and lacks concrete details. However, he has not provided specifics about where these interim locations might be, leaving many questions unanswered, or how such a plan would be implemented. The lack of a clear strategy has only added to the skepticism. The lack of clarity and consistency from the Trump administration has only added to the uncertainty and anxiety surrounding the future of Gaza and its people. This has left many Palestinians in a state of limbo, It also raises questions about the administration's competence and its ability to formulate a coherent foreign policy. The world watches closely, waiting for a definitive plan. That's the latest on the ongoing hostage situation. Now we want to hear from you. What are your thoughts on this crisis? Drop a comment below and let's get the conversation going. If you found this video informative, don't forget to like, share, and spread the word. And of course, make sure to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you never miss out on more updates and insights. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.